Howdy, I'm Josh. I'm going to show you a definitive walkthrough A to Z of an entire high-level sub-account. We'll go through from Launchpad to App Marketplace, jump into settings as well, and go from top to bottom so you can see all the different tools that are in here. So if you ever wanted to set up a sub-account, you will know how to do so and what the tools are that you can sell. I also want to tell you what has worked for me with experience. I started back in 2021. November was my first ever payment to HighLevel. I now have 2 accounts. One is my primary SaaS, which is eGrowth Lab, and we've got 48 sub-accounts underneath there that are SaaS enabled. We have this account, which is just an account that I pay for in order to make these videos that I don't have any of my clients in, so I can do demos. That is the only reason this account exists. So let's start at the top. Launchpad. This is the version 1 of the Launchpad. Version 2, the newest updated one, is not great just yet. There are demo videos inside it. So if you have new clients that you need some videos to train them on how to use the platform, you would jump up to the agency view of the account. You can go to the settings and you go to the labs section, and then you can go search for the Launchpad, which is going to be available underneath the sub account section. You can go and click on activate features and choose which one of your sub accounts you want to turn that on. I have not enabled it because it is not perfect just yet. Going back into the account, the next section is going to be dashboards. There's a lot of stuff inside of dashboards. The way that I would approach this is going to show you all the details of the sub account from the edit dashboard section. That's where I would start, but I don't want you to edit the current dashboard. What I want you to do is save these changes, go up to the upper left hand corner and click on add a new dashboard. You can create from blank, but let's start with a template. Once we start with a template, you can do something like need attribution, which is going to be a great one to start with. Once you add this template in, it'll preload a bunch of information. Of course, with a brand new sub account, you're not going to have any information, but this is where you would like to start. Don't do anything fancy. You don't want to put in math that you are going to break or is going to give you false information. The entire goal of the dashboard is to tell you valuable information about this sub account and show your clients that the tools and the resources they are utilizing inside of their sub account is actually providing them real value. Leads, form submissions, phone calls, revenue, opportunities, those types of things. Once you have a lead attribution dashboard, and once you want to get a little bit fancier than these pre-built templates, which you can edit the time period that you're looking at, you can edit the dashboard in the upper right hand corner and click on the little 3 dots on each one of these sections. Every single one of them is editable to some degree or another. You can click on edit, and this will allow you to do configurations, conditions, and themes. So let's go from the left to right. Configure. This is the chart type. You can do numeric, which is these numbers here. You can do a pie chart or donut, which if you've done any sort of basic math, you know what that is. Line chart, same thing. Bar chart, horizontal bars, and then the tables. And if you don't know the differences between the different ones here and when and why you should use one versus the other, you need to do a little bit of math. So go back and do some of your basic math to understand when you should use one versus the other. I'm not going to explain them here. You can go and edit the titles, and then you can do the metrics that you want to display. In most cases, you're only displaying one metric, so don't get too fancy. You can view by, so when is the view period, whether it was created on, updated by, the birth date, last activity. These view bys are going to change and in some cases may not be visible. So if you don't see this on every one of the metrics, it doesn't pertain to the metric that you're editing. You can do breakdown, whether or not you're looking at daily snapshots or weekly snapshots or monthly or quarterly. So make sure that I like to add stuff in the top left-hand corner and just say like weekly. And then all of my lead overviews for this section is going to be weekly. And I just tell my clients that because certain information you want to look at certain breakdowns. The date property you can choose, once again, very similar to view by, but this is going to edit the entire advanced settings for this dashboard, for this section inside the dashboard, pardon me. Date range override. This will do a default. So I like to set up a particular dashboard for the week, another one for the month, and another one for the year. You can also do comparisons if you want to do a week over week or a month over month. Next is conditions. You can add filters inside of this. Again, this will change based on the information inside your account or what you want to show. You can choose different things like tags. So if you only want to show a particular tag, with this account, then you can add it. This default or demo sub account doesn't have any tags added to it, so this isn't going to count. Next, you can do themes. You don't really need themes. Okay. Once you have everything all set up, you can also do quick filters, and you can add quick filters that will apply. This is only going to affect it if you want to edit the information for the entire dashboard for a limited amount of time. So this isn't going to apply a filter for long term, but if you are getting information very quickly, that is the way to do it. In the upper right-hand corner, you can click on add additional widgets. The additional widgets, be careful. You don't want to add too many widgets to one dashboard if they are unrelated to one another. So you might want to have a dedicated dashboard for calls. How would you do that? Click on Save Changes, go to the upper left-hand corner, click on Add Dashboard, and then you collect a blank dashboard, and you can do just calls. And once you have this all set up, you can choose whether or not this is private or public. If it's private, only you are going to see it. If it's public, then all your team members are going to see it. So make sure that, let's say, admin is only going to have access to particular dashboards, and then regular employees aren't going to have access to all the dashboard and sensitive information. I can go in here and do top added or used widgets, but I'm just going to do something manually. So I can click on the edit dashboard, click on edit manually. I'll go down here to the calls, and then I'll do something like the first time call status. I can enter that in and then configure and do conditions and click save. That'll add that record. I can also move this in kind of this block section to help with the resizing and location of this dashboard. And once I'm happy with everything, I'll click on Save Changes, but in this case, I'm not happy about it, so I'm not going to do any sort of saves. I'll go back to the default. Most of your information is going to be visible inside the default section, and we'll see if I can get any information inside of this default account. I don't, so I won't be able to click on anything, but if you have, let's say this chart right here, you should be able to hover over some of these dots, and it'll actually pull up a CSV file for that location. If I jump over to one of the other demo accounts, I might be able to get a little bit of information to be able to show you. So I'm going to expand this to the year, and let's see if I have any data. I don't have any data to be able to show you, but if you were to click on one of these numbers, you'll actually get a pop-up record, and you can click on export table to, or this data into a table. And so you can pull that into a CSV file, pull it into ChatGPT, or do whatever else you want to with this edited dashboard. That, I think, is everything that we need to cover for the dashboard, other than editing the times, which is super easy. The edit dashboard section and widgets are super advanced. If you really want to get into it, you can do custom metrics. And one more thing, super valuable, is the element section. This embed feature is underutilized and super powerful. So you can choose whether or not to iframe or do an external link to a URL. Iframing in information into this account is going to be super powerful because you can do custom information inside of this dashboard. So I have embedded stuff such as a Google Sheet or a HighLevel website, or you can do the chat widget. Anything that has an iframe that is going to allow custom embedding will show up inside here. You can iframe in a YouTube video if you wanted to. If you don't know what iframing in and kind of custom dashboards are, then you probably go and take a little bit of refresher on that. Look up HighLevel's custom menu links and iframing. That will be super useful. Some things will allow you to iframe and other things won't. So if it breaks and doesn't allow you, then it's probably not going to allow you moving forward. Next section, conversations. Inside the conversations tab, this is the way that you communicate with all of your contacts. If you are, as an agency level, going to communicate with each one of your potential clients, you do that here. You can also go to an internal chat, which is going to be chat between each one of your team members. You can click on the upper left-hand corner and click on new, and you can do direct, group, or internal. Yes, group SMS is available inside of here. The team inbox, let's go kind of from top to bottom on all these sections. So you have conversations. This is just an overview of all the conversations that are available. You can filter everything, and then you can create new messages. You'll be able to see all the ways to contact each one, or this particular contact. So if you've got SMS, it'll show up here, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook DMs, email, those will all show up inside of here. You can also do internal comments on each one of these clients. And then below this, you can choose which phone number it is from, and you can choose the phone number that it's to. If the contact has multiple phone numbers, you can choose between them. WhatsApp is very similar. Email is also going to be this similar way, where with the emails, you can choose which email you're sending from and which one you're sending to. Inside of this contact layer, you'll be able to see either the phone number or ideally the name of the contact that you're interacting with. You can choose whether or not to mark this as star as super important, and that'll help with the filtering layers. You can do mark as read or unread. You can also delete, and then you can filter out the conversations that you've had with this. So if you've had multiple conversations and you have emails that you want to only see with the particular contact record, you can click on the filter there and it'll filter inside of this contact block, which is super nice. Over to the right, you can edit the name, which in this case is just a phone number. You can also open the contact in a new tab. So if you can click on that, that'll take you into the conversations tab, which we'll go over in detail in just a minute, but that'll take you back to that section. But we'll jump back over here to the conversation section. There's two ways. The conversations allow you to interact and talk with people. The contacts allow you to interact and talk with people. Slightly different use cases and slightly different organization. I'll go over that. Next, you can do a direct call, a direct email, and other ways if you have their contact inside of this record. You can also add email straight to here, so you can add the emails. You can add phone numbers to this account. So if you have an extra phone number, you can choose whether or not which location it is available in. And then you can choose to assign this to a particular owner. So if I go and assign it to a different one of my users, then they will get notifications underneath the owner notifications. And then there's also a different notification layer for followers. So maybe my owners want to be notified whenever a new opportunity changes or new messages show up for this person. But followers don't necessarily need all those notifications. You can choose whether or not each one of those contact layers or notification layers are edited inside the settings section of this particular sub account. Next is the tags. I can choose to add additional tags, click on add new tag, and then I can go over here and mark it as a customer. Sweet. Tags will bleed into a lot of other things inside the account. Next is the active automations. I can choose to add it to workflows inside my account. I don't have any workflows to add it to. I can also choose to start it on a particular date. So I don't want to add them to a particular workflow immediately, so I might delay that a little bit by putting it into the future. I can also mark it as DND, which is either DND all, calls, voicemails, DND text messages, and emails. The user themselves can mark themselves as DND, but you can also preemptively mark them as DND if you think that it's going to be useful. Let me jump back over here, and then I'll go over here to the right-hand side. You can insert snippets underneath SMS. So if you have pre-built text templates, you can choose that, and that'll have a pre-built section. So let's say you have a message that you copy paste all the time. The insert snippets are going to help save you a ton of time. Custom values, these are going to be stuff such as user full name. That'll pull custom records or custom values that you have in association to this contact into this account. In this case, the username is going to be the phone number, so you probably don't want to send a username, and that'll pre-fill before it sends to this user. You can also click on more, and you can insert emojis, request payments, and attach files to this particular contact record, which will be in association with only them. Okay, on the right-hand side, you get contact, then you have appointments. You can book appointments with this particular contact. This will pull up a new kind of iframe or pop up in your account. You can choose which calendar in association with, whether it's you or a different user, or the different types and times of contacts inside of a calendar that you want to associate and book with. So if you have multiple calendars with multiple different people, you can manage them all in one place. Next, you can do the title and add descriptions if you want to. You can choose the date and time, which is a location. You can also choose a default location, which is settings inside the calendar, which we'll go over. You can also go to custom and choose the particular details down to particular minutes. And then you can choose whether or not it's recurring or calendar default location or a custom location tied to it. And you can choose whether or not the status is confirmed or unconfirmed directly in here and add internal notes. Once you book the appointment, any associated kind of automations, SMS, email, notifications tied to the calendar will automatically be triggered based on your previous settings. You can add an opportunity, which will be inside of the opportunity tab. This will show up a pop-up for the opportunities, which is the same one you're going to see in the opportunities sections. If you have additional records that you've added on the left-hand side, those will show up here. And then the contact details can all be filled out. You can add everything from primary contact name, primary email, phone, opportunity name, pipeline, stage, status, open, lost, won, abandoned, opportunity value that you want to assign. You can choose the owner again. You can add followers and business name, opportunity source, add additional tags if you want to. or you can add additional custom fields. This is a custom field which is completely customizable. Puppy name is not a default for this account. It would stop at tags. I have custom added puppy name as a record that is associated with this account. So if you wanted to do something like number of houses they own or the number of kids that they have, you could put those records inside here. And that's one of the things that makes HighLevel absolutely amazing, is the customization and of custom values and custom fields, which any CRM that is worth any weight or salt needs to have. Okay, tasks. You can filter tasks in the upper right hand side if you want to. You can also add tasks by clicking right here, and you can add a title, description, stylize it if you want to, assign to a particular user, and have a due date. Then associated automations will fire based on that task. You can go to note, click on add note, stylize it, create note if you want to, and those will all be associated to this contact. Anyone that has access to this contact will see all associated appointments, booking, payments, tasks, notes that is association with this individual. And if they are an owner and a follower and you have the appropriate permissions, then they can jump in here and see that. So that is super powerful. You can jump between different contacts, see all past communications. Was it successful? Did they have an inbound call? How did that go? What was the conversation like? This was an AI call, so you can see that there was a little bit of information. Of course, there's a default or just like a 0-second call, so there's no information to be able to show in this particular one. But if you had additional workflows, you'd be able to see AI summaries of the calls inside this account. I think that's everything that you need to see here, other than the My Inbox, which is team and My Inbox are going to be separate because yours is going to be dedicated to you. So if you're an owner or a follower, you are going to have different notifications in My Inbox as opposed to others that other people may not see. Let's go to manual actions. Manual actions are going to be kind of bulk actions that you need to do. So you can assign manual actions inside of automations and some other locations that require you to manually place calls or send SMS messages to contacts. So let's say you have a sales rep and you want to push notifications to that person underneath a manual task that they need to go and do. So like, hey, you need to call Johnny back. It'll push a manual action to this individual. They'll see it on the desktop. They'll see it on their phone. And like, hey, I need to call them back. They'll jump in here and see who is assigned to, select the workflow, and then they can click on Let's Get Started. It'll start walking them through each one of their steps and kind of give them a checklist to follow. Super nice, super like an automated way of, simple way of automating your life. Snippets, this next section, you can pre-build email and SMS. So if I click on a new folder, you know what that is. I don't need to show you. You can click on a new snippet. I'll add a text snippet. Once I add this in here, then you can see each one of the text custom values that I would put into the account, such as like contact record, full name, and any details. And then this will show up on the right hand side. You can kind of see the average or the estimated cost, approximate cost. And this is going to change and vary based on the rebilling fees and markups that you have attached to this account. You can add files and you can test it by sending it to yourself. Once you save it, it'll be available in any part of your account. So if I go up to, this is a lowercase test, and I go back to the conversations section here, and I go to an unread or an all location, and I choose on this account, and I click on the snippets, then I can go to test, and I may have to refresh this account, and this will show up for me, but I'll click on the lowercase text test, and that will show up as an event snippet. I'll click on this one, and that'll pre-fill what we just showed there. Sweet. That'll save a lot of time and effort of copy and paste. Same thing happens for email. Trigger links. Trigger links, these are super useful. These are trigger links that you can put a URL or a link to something else into this trigger link so that you can track whenever they are clicked. So you click on the analyze section and you can see which links were clicked based on the trigger link. So if you want to analyze when people clicked on particular links that you've sent them, this will help. Use case. Did they click on the invoice that I sent them? Did they click on the video link that I sent them? How many people actually click on our text? How many people click on links that are on our website? Underneath trigger links, those are things that are all possible. Super powerful, super underutilized. Go watch some videos on detailed trigger links, but the way that you'd add it is click on add link, add a name, create a link URL. You can add custom values, a few of them inside of here, and then Bob's your uncle. Okay, calendars. Underneath the calendar view, this is your big open view of how you can see everything that you have coming up. You can click on today and that'll jump you back to today. You can jump between different weeks. You can also do a week view, day view, and month view. You can click on the annotations if you want to go in here and see what each one of the things mean based on these texts and some of these icons that are attached to the account. You can do Calendly, Outlook, Apple, Google, blocked off slots, event error, service bookings, recurring events as well. You can click on Manage View if you want to kind of manage everything and simplify your life a little bit in the view. You can click on All Appointments, Block Slots, and then you can choose the filters, whether or not you want to clear all. Or you can go to Users, Add Users. You can go to Calendars and choose particular calendars that you want to see appointments or blocked off slots on. You can click on New, and underneath New, this is where you book a new appointment or a blocked off slot. So those are your two options. We already went over what this looks like. The only difference is that you would click on a particular contact now because we don't have an associated contact yet. Click on the contact drop down or search a name. In this case, I have phone numbers, so I'll click on that account. If I want to go and double check who they are, I can either click on this little eye, kind of see the source, and I can also click on this little jump button, and this will redirect me to that contact conversation in a new tab. I can also click on blocked off slots. And so I can go to a particular user, go over here and put in some details about this and say that I want to block off this information for, let's see, 3:39, 20 seconds. So that's great. I'll click on block off time and that'll show a block off time for that particular user right there. So that is blocked off. So that will make sure that they can't get anything booked on that time. And so they're not double booked. You can do all sorts of stuff with the settings, which is making sure that the appointments don't have any sort of double booking. They show up on Apple and they have two-way sync, one-way sync, all that stuff. This is available inside of calendar settings, which will show. You can also organize appointments, just appointment list view, upcoming, canceled, all. And then you can also do the new appointment and customize a list right here with all sorts of columns, with all sorts of sorting by dates and advanced. Filters, which allow you to do a ton of different filters by all sorts of settings. You can do and or settings. Okay, that's what we've got for the appointment list view. Let's click on calendar settings, which is going to jump us to calendar settings inside of the settings account. So it's a little bit different. You aren't staying inside of the sub account primary kind of adjustments. Underneath here, and this allows us to create new calendars. But before we do that, we can do regular calendars, service menu, rooms, and equipment. Click on regular calendars, and on the left-hand side, you can choose groups to put calendars underneath. This will help you with grouping calendars, which is exactly, I'm just saying, I'm repeating myself, but we'll click on the status by all, inactive or active, different types, owned by, and click on new calendar. Under new calendar, you've got a couple of different types, and this has basic explainers. You have to read each one of them to determine which one you want to use, but personal booking is probably going to be the one for most of the people. Click on personal booking, select the team member, put a name inside here, and then do a custom URL for this account, the meeting duration, and the booking availability, which is going to be based on the individual user as well. So there's a bunch of cross-checking to make sure that they are available on the booking dates that you set inside the calendar. So 2 settings in different locations. If Bob on his calendar has said, I'm not available here, you need to make sure that they're also not available on this calendar. They can talk to each other if you've got them connected. But if they're not connected, they're not going to talk. You're going to have double bookings. So settings are important. Advanced settings allow you to open up a new dashboard, which allows you to put a calendar logo, a description, a group, a custom URL, a meeting invite title, which you want to be specific with because this will show up on people's calendar if they put it on their Google, Apple, iCal, all those. Also, the meeting locations. These are the available meeting locations, meeting location custom values and adding display labels, and then meeting colors. There's a great availability is where you can set some of the settings for this account. So you can do everything from looking busy, recurring meetings, intervals, durations, scheduling notice, date range, maximum bookings per day, maximum bookings per slot, per user, pre-buffer time, and post-buffer time, and all sorts of different variations or groupings. You can choose a custom form if you want to. So if you don't want the default form, put a different form on there. But the default is going to be great for most people. So 99% of you choose that. You can pre-populate sticky fields. That's great. You can learn more about that here. Consent checkboxes. So consent. You can add guests if they want to, and the types of guests and what they need to fill in. Metapixel if you want to track that as a lead conversion. and auto confirm new calendar meetings and accept payments if you want to make this, but you do have to connect a payment provider in order to do so. You can allow Google, Outlook, iCal to send invitations. You can assign to contacts. You can skip assigning contacts if the contact already has an assigned user. You can allow rescheduling of meetings, allow cancellations of meetings. You can do meeting invite notes, which will show up inside of an email as well. And then the customization is this next step, which you can customize the look and feel of this if you want to. Underneath notifications, this is the primary area that you want to make sure people get notified of things. In the upper right hand corner, you can choose to troubleshoot the calendar if you want to, and they'll make sure that everything is all good. When you click on the troubleshooting, this will kind of do a run through and test it. It'll show you up in a new page, and it'll make sure that, hey, looks like everything is like unavailable. Okay, he's available on the 23rd. Okay, so it looks like the calendar's working. Just make sure that everything is working, and you want to test it in a couple of different ways. Put it on different links, different like a mobile and desktop, so that you are happy with it. It's going to work as long as this troubleshooting view is looking good and these available dates are showing up. But go through the whole process. Like click on sections and make sure you try to book on different pages, and then that you're happy with everything. So in this case, we're not able to book to the particular days because this is a test. So pull up a test link. You can click on save, and then you can open up the calendar. So if I click on back to calendar view, when I go to one of my bookings, I got a couple of different options. I can edit, I can share, I can troubleshoot, and I have more options that look like that. So if I click on the share, I got a couple of different options. I can do scheduling link permanent or regular. Those are the details below that. You can do one time, or you can embed if you want to. When I click on this, I can copy this link to the calendar, open that up in a new tab, and this will show me what the link will look like if I want to share this. If I click on this, I can select, and this will be the default form, and then I can go and schedule the meeting. As long as you have everything set up correctly and you have notifications all set up for the account, then the end user that is booked is going to receive a notification, and you will receive a notification as the user that they are booked with. Or if it's a generalized whole account, then all of you users inside of the account will receive notifications. Pretty much the same settings for service, rooms, and equipment. The only difference is going to be things like equipment. It's going to allow you to do things like total quantity, out of service quantity as well. And right now that is all very manual. Same thing for the ad rooms as well. You got to go in here to the account in order to make those adjustments. They aren't tied at the moment of recording this video to any sort of automation or workflows. You need to go in here and manually adjust those things if those things change in real life, which they always do. Preferences, you can go to preferences and you can choose the meeting location default for the account. You have to have them connected in order to have any of the other options available. So you have to have a Zoom account connected to Google Meet or Microsoft Teams in order for those to show up in the first place. You can choose the default, and you can paste a link in here if you want to. Just make sure that you test it, because some of the links may not show as clickable. Time zones, business time zone, you can choose those here, and you can go to account preferences to choose some of these details such as week start dates, service menu, rooms, equipments, if those are all available or not. Next is availability. You can choose availability for the entire calendar selection. Underneath the availability, you probably don't need to touch this very much, because most of your stuff is going to be done underneath my profile and underneath the individual users of the account. So underneath this, the availability allows you to adjust your settings that are inside of my profile without having to go to my profile. So you can click on Bob Lake and you can go to the work hours, and you can choose the particular times this individual is available, and you can choose on which calendars this individual is associated with. So you can create schedules for this individual, and if you go and create a new schedule in here, I can do this one right here, which will allow me to choose a particular calendar that has a particular schedule that only applies to that calendar, so that maybe I'm available for different classes. Let's say you're a teacher and you only want to be available for your math classes on Wednesdays, and so the schedule only applies to Wednesdays, and a different one only applies to Tuesdays. Then you can make those adjustments here, and that's super nice for that customization. Next is connections. I'll show you where you can connect to. So this is calendars. You can go to the staff, and you can see all the staff and who has access to what if you're an admin of this particular sub account. If you're a user, you will only see your account. Underneath calendars, you can choose which calendars you can add additional new ones. These are the available ones, and these are the available video conferencing options. You can choose which ones to link to, and then you can choose how to link to each one of those accounts. Video conferencing, Google Organic Booking, those are all available. Okay, that's calendars. Let's go back to contacts. Underneath the contacts section, we have Smart Lists. This is the old view of the contact section. If you want to see the new view, click on Settings. go over to the labs inside of the sub account. You're not going to be able to edit those here. You're going to have to go to the agency. This is a mistake a lot of people will make. Click on the agency, go to settings, go all the way down to the labs section, and then you go to the sub accounts, and then you can go to the conversations tab, and there's a new conversations tab enabled. I will click on activate because this one is fine. I'll do a CRM redesign for the conversations, and we'll jump all the way back to the account, and we'll go to the contact section and conversation section. So underneath the new conversations, this looks a little bit cleaner and you have more options here. So at the time of recording, I wanted to show you both, but that way you can go to payments, you can go to documents, you can go to appointments, notes, tasks, associations, which are opportunities, activities, and contact details, all in this one location. Very simple. Also a little bit cleaner to be able to close some of this stuff. While I'm here, you can also see all the payments, transactions, subscriptions, invoices, and estimates. You can also manage your documents by adding additional documents to this account. You can also book appointments and those other things we've already seen. Underneath contact section, let's update this section as well. We'll go to the agency view. We'll go to the settings in the agency view, click on the labs section, and we'll go to contacts, which are going to be inside the sub account section. And we'll click on contact view, activate this, and we'll select all for now. These things are still in beta, so I don't suggest just turning it on for everyone, but I don't have contacts inside of this account or clients, so it doesn't really matter to me at the moment, and I need to show you this. Okay, smart list. This is what it's going to look like. A little bit cleaner than what you previously saw, but from the top, smart lists are organizations, so filters. That's what you're applying, and these are pre-built filters. So I have one for customers, one for all, but if I want to click on add smart list, this will pop up on the right-hand side. I'm not going to show you everything because it is extremely advanced. Just about everything that you can add into this account, you can filter by, and then you save the smart list with those filters. So if you want to only show people that have clicked on emails in the last 5 days that you have sent in the last month, you can do that with a smart list. If you only want to see people that have interacted with your SMS in the last 52 days, you can show that in a smart list. If you want to only show people that have a birthday on April 13th, if you have that information saved in the account, then you can add a smart list to only send to people that have a birthday on April 15th. Okay, smart lists are managed underneath here, and I need to show you this first. It feels like we're jumping ahead, but smart lists have 2 or 3 different types. There's global lists, shared by you, and shared with you. So managers can share it with someone else. So if you create a new smart list, it's not by default going to be global. So you got to go over here to share smart list, click on that. And then if you have other users, you can change this to a global list, and then everyone can see it. So you can share by you and shared with you. The owner is the one that's going to be able to edit it for this account. Unless you're an admin, then you can edit kind of all. Next thing is going to be the advanced filters underneath this. So once you have a smart list created, you can create new filters under that smart list. Feels a little bit counterintuitive, but these are going to be more so temporary adjustments. So you might be inside of a list and you're only looking at April birthday people, but you want April 15th only. So you would add an additional advanced filter, come through all of these available filter attributions, and then assign something. So you go down to the age, and the age is a particular number more than a particular number of like 34, and then you can select this 34 days, and then you can go in here and apply that. And I don't have anyone because I don't have a ton of contacts in this account, so I can go and clear that filter. So those are more or less advanced filters that aren't necessarily ones that you want to keep around for the longest time. And then I don't want to save any of those things, so I'm going to discard those changes. Same thing for customers, and you can go in and edit them later. Inside this account, you can import. So if you want to import particular contacts or opportunities, you can do those by clicking on the import button, and this will take you through the start steps of like selecting objects, making sure it's organizing, having the tagging and uploading all those steps. It's a very straightforward process. Follow the steps. You can add individual contacts on the right-hand side. These are the options. You can also customize this form. So when you click on customize this form, you can choose which of the available details of the add contact. So if there's additional managed fields that you want to show, such as, let's say date of birth is an important one to fill out, then you can add those. You can also, like this puppy name is a custom field that I added myself, then you can add puppy name, and that would be a new customer that you add by clicking on add contact. And then you can add those details here. Super, super useful, very important. On the right hand side, you can export, restore, manage smart list, manage duplicates and settings. Once you select individual contacts, then additional settings show up. You can select all inside of this smart list, then you can export. You can trigger automations by clicking on this, and then you select the particular workflow you want to trigger. Click on the workflows. I don't have any. And then you would assign a name. You can send all at once, or you can do like drip or sending at a particular schedule. Next, you have send email. You can send an email to that entire group. If you have emails associated, you can add tags as well. You can also delete, and you can click on more, and these are the other options that you have with that contact list. This is great. Bulk actions. Once I did that action that I just showed you, which is like selecting more than one individual, I can choose a particular bulk action, and those will show up here. So if you have a scheduled action that you chose, like an SMS to send tomorrow, go into bulk actions and you can see what is happening with that. If you need to cancel it or if something failed, you will see all those details here. You can click on them and it'll show you more details and expand that. You can also restore. So if you deleted contacts that inside of this account, click on restore. You can go to tasks. So tasks can be assigned manually. You can do them with automations as well. You can also go in here and click on add task. Add task also has individual smart lists, which is super, super nice, and additional ways to organize different filters for the tasks. You can also restore tasks that are missing as well. Underneath add tasks, you can also do associated objects if you want to associate them with contacts, opportunities, companies. If you are on the $497 plan, and I believe it's added to additional plans too, then you have custom objects. So custom objects allow you to add additional associated objects. So let's say you have a family and church and kid, all or car and house, and you can associate multiple people to multiple things. That will mean a lot of, that'll be meaning a lot to a particular group of people. But if you don't care about that or doesn't make sense to you, then it's not for you. Okay, companies. This is associations that I just talked about. So companies are allowing you to associate multiple contacts to a particular company. Let's say there's like 5 employees that you've been interacting with, and you want to make sure that you keep them in association with one another. So you can add a new company here, and then you can add multiple people to that company. So you can click on a particular company that I have inside this account, and then I can choose on associations. And this will allow me to associate particular contacts with this company that I want to reach out to. Let's say if I can get the associations to load. If not, then I'll have to come back to it. But once the companies are created, then you can do all sorts of editing as well. So if I want to click on a contact, I can go through my list and add this particular person, save this to a company. Now I've got multiple contacts associated with this particular company, which is super great. I can also do details and edit the details of the company. I can add tasks that are associated with the company, and I can do notes, particular notes with the particular company. I can add and adjust them here. Manage smart list, I already showed you that. When I click on settings, this will jump me into the conversation or the sub-account settings, which takes us into custom fields. We'll touch custom fields in a little bit. Okay, underneath contacts, we have opportunities. This is super powerful, and there's a lot more that I'm not going to be able to touch here. But with the opportunities tab, this is where you can adjust each one of the opportunities into your account. Let's say you have the association of Bob Lake. Bob Lake is a contact you're doing conversations with, and Bob Lake is interested in purchasing. Then you would go into and add an opportunity. When I click on add an opportunity, I go and find a particular contact that I want to associate with. This particular time, I don't have a particular name, so I'll click on Bob Lake, and then I'll go and say Bob Lake wants me to build him a house. So the house is worth $23, expensive house. I click on create. This is going to not allow me to do this because I have not enabled duplicate opportunities. I can go and click on that button if I want to, but I can click on Bob Lake, who is already here. I can choose which stage to put him in. If I put him in new lead and I update, then Bob Lake is going to eventually move from the hot leads over to new leads. I may have to fresh. Oh, there we go. Okay, so Bob Lake will show up here, and I can click into this opportunity and make adjustments. On the left-hand side, these are all customizable. I can add additional ones underneath like associated objects if I want to add additional ones there, and I'm on the right account, which is available on $297 and the $97 plan as well. I can add multiple pipelines. All these steps are customizable. So new lead, this is someone that just came in, filled out a form. Now they're hot. They talked to me on the phone. Now they requested a booking. So when I click on this, then the booking is now confirmed, and then services sold. And once they're sold, I would mark them as 1 or lost or abandoned. Now I click as 1. Okay, great. Now they're marked as 1. I can go back to the dashboard, and I would see that this particular contact is now worth $2,000. The conversion value is marked here. Here's the funnel. Here's how quickly they move to the different conversion steps. Here's the context that I have in this associated account. So that's super useful. One of the most powerful parts of this entire tool is going to be the pipelines. You can adjust pipelines by clicking on pipelines here, and you can create additional pipelines, and you can adjust them, turn them on or off, show them in reports or not. If you want to add additional stages, you can do so here, and you can delete them here. Bulk actions, it's the same thing that's going to be for the contact record, but just associated with opportunities. Next step is going to be payments. And payments, I will touch in part 2 of this full feature rich walkthrough of the HighLevel platform.